All I'll say is good morning. It's very, very early, and a lot of things have happened, of course, in the last little while. We've had the shooting in D.C., we've had the attack in Kenya. There was a shooting, I guess, somewhere in the upper Midwestern states. And, of course, new calls for gun control and all those types of things. Well, with all of that, of course, we have to protect ourselves from criminals. As you see, innocent people, by and large, are the victims of these crazed lunatics, both in government and government-funded and government-supported clandestine organizations of various types, and just everyday common criminals. So this is probably one of my more radical videos, and it's going to be somewhat short. You all know about protecting yourselves, the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, protect your loved ones and your families, things like that. And I think it really is time at this point that we take that seriously. And I've alluded to this in the past, but I would suggest that you always carry a legal firearm in a legal manner. And of course, I know there's a difference between legal and constitutional. I understand that. But I'm trying to keep you out of trouble, and you can always make your own decision. But I don't think you can afford to go anywhere any longer unless you have a means to self-defense. And that's all of us. Plus, to take action if you're properly trained, okay? If you are properly trained or have been properly trained, to assist others if their lives are in danger. So, our government won't protect us. As a matter of fact, they fund these lunatic criminal terrorist organizations, whether they be, domestic or foreign. And they do that so that they can, of course, convince you, using Hegelian dialectic, that they are the solution to the problem they create in the first place. And your life doesn't mean anything compared to their concern for holding on to power, and we've talked about that before. But we're seeing it now at a magnitude that really concerns me. Now, we've been talking about false flags, and that some significant ones were going to happen during the summer. And I don't know. A lot of times things can be put on hold because of actions taken by others. Like I said, nothing is set in concrete. These things are somewhat liquid and fluid. But you've had the leader of the new leader of Al Qaeda. There's always one, right? He really sits in Washington D.C. in the White House with his minions and his handlers in the CIA and the FBI and these other organizations, Mossad and MI5 and 6, etc. But the fact of the matter is that the figurehead of Al Qaeda, al-Zawahiri, has said that he's going to attack, Americans and American interests throughout the world in small types of things, especially things like this small attack. And we still have the problem with the missing surface-to-air missiles. And a lot of people were talking about, well, these are just the man pads from Russia that we were dealing in there in Libya, in Benghazi, and sending to Syria. No, there are others, okay? There are others. And I had an individual ask me about that a little while ago, and unfortunately I wasn't able to really give him any definitive answer on it for a number of reasons, one of which is that some of this information is somewhat hard to come by. It's not in the mainstream press, of course, and if you don't accept anything but the mainstream press, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, because the American mainstream press is a controlled propaganda state arm of propaganda, so that you can't get the information that you need, that it's all controlled. I saw Karl Rove on television last night with Bill O'Reilly, and what a joke. This guy comes from, well, he's against any. If you watch what he said last night about, the the people that are trying to get us back to the Constitution, specifically Senator Ted Cruz, on some of the issues that they brought up. You can see these guys have another agenda altogether, and it doesn't matter whether Republican or Democrat. It's about state control. It's about the state police, about the police state. We have criminals in government, ladies and gentlemen. We have criminal terrorists that are funded and organized and controlled by state intelligence services of various types. Yes, I know that there are loose cannons out there and free agents, so to speak, but when you see us funding these guys, and it's no secret anymore. I have people want to argue with me about that all the time. It's no secret that the United States in particular funds Al-Qaeda and its various associates, okay? It's various affiliates. This guy was back in the paper again here, or in the news lately, the Army guy who went and was basically firing weapons for and on behalf of Al-Qaeda in Syria on the rebel side. And of course we see all these atrocities, the killing of Christians. I'm not going to really go there because I'm not so sure that it's actually even anybody but these provocateur intelligence services committing these atrocities. I'm not even sure they're real Muslims committing them. They are, of course, I'm sure, most by and large, under the guidance. They're kind of like, it's kind of like junkyard dogs. They just go after anybody that gets in their way, and that's kind of what these guys are doing. So again, you need to protect yourself. I'm rambling a little bit this morning. It's very early, but I'm very disturbed about what I'm seeing. Of course, it's always a call for gun control. This Navy Yard shooting, at first I wasn't sure it was a false flag, and I'm still not absolutely 100%. But there are some things that are starting to show up. Of course, he's on these psychotropic drugs. He's former military, has a security clearance. And I'm hearing some other rumblings now about some other things. We heard that there might be 2 or 3 shooters at first, and then of course that was poo-pooed, very similar to the situation in the school shooting this time last year. And I'm just thinking that maybe the targets that were, from what I'm hearing, of course, and this is second, third, fourth hearing, but the victims, the targets of that attack may actually have had to engage multiple shooters. And of course, this is the one guy that they killed, this Alexis guy, was just the fall guy, as usual. Well, there's always one. Going back to the FBI and their knowledge that they knew who the Zarnov brothers were, even though they were asking the public to help identify them and all that, obvious BS. So at any rate, nothing concrete this morning, just feelings that you can see these things coming now very strong. Will a major event happen now in October? Well, historically it has, so we didn't really have anything specifically happen on 9/11 this year that I'm aware of. So it's not always 100%, but that the pattern is that criminal elements in the government, and apparently there are a lot more of them than anybody really wants to admit. I hear Alex Jones when he talks saying that, well, it's criminal elements in our government. Well, the fact is that our government then goes along. See, this is the problem. The criminal elements in our government may do it, but then our government, and all Western governments for that matter, then enact situations, laws, whatever, to infringe on the rights of the good, law-abiding, decent people. So, okay, it might be criminal elements in the government, but they're in positions of power. Okay, they're the people that are leading this thing. As I said before, I did hear about an Army colonel, I think he's retired, who said that McCain and Graham are traitors, in fact, and should shut up. And I of course completely agree with that. And I'd include Obama in the White House and many others. So I'm not going to go much further today. It's just that we have to take this self-defense thing seriously because, and I know the pitfalls of that. I understand, okay? But nobody in government is your friend. At least you have to approach it from that way. And there are good people here and there. I hear people say, they're good FBI, they're good CIA. Well, of course there are. But the point is that they apparently don't have the power to stop these terrible things that are happening. And then you get like in Texas, where they disarmed the guy with the black powder pistol. Actually arrested him, I guess. Totally legal, carrying in the open. Black powder is not even included in the law or exempted from the law. And they still violate the guy's rights. And that's what this government does. All right, everywhere. Okay, wow. I get off on tangents. I just see, of course, these things mounting. So the message today is take your self-defense seriously now and the defense of others. I said, 6-8 months ago that these missiles would start showing up in the Western world, and they will. The shoulder-to-air missiles that were taken out of Libya by Al-Qaeda, given to them by our government. You've got this al-Zawahiri again calling for these attacks, and I think that you are going to see more of this and more coordinated and probably well planned and executed. These guys aren't the best, but you have to be on your toes. The shoot unarmed people is the most criminal, the most cowardly act that one can do, especially women and children. I mean, beheading little children because they're Christian, they can't give Muhammad's wife's name, and those Christians in Kenya. Well, this has been ongoing, and these are Muslims who don't understand true religion. I'm sorry, guys, you just don't. Okay, and it's true spirituality. You're caught up in a cult. Seriously, you are. A lot of Christians are too, but this is talking to you guys. And you are being funded and supplied by intelligence services in the West. And you're doing their bidding. You're not doing your God's bidding. Well, I guess they are your God because you don't know any better. You select them. You think God, your God is giving you the tools through these agencies, or maybe you don't even know that's who's doing it. But by your fruits, guys, and I know that's a New Testament version, but it fits anyway. By your acts. And these aren't heroic acts. These are cowardly, disgusting acts. And you will be held accountable for it in the realms of the kingdom of heaven. You will be, if not sooner. But your handlers are the ones that I'm concerned with because they give you the ability to do these things. And they sit in Washington, D.C., in London, England, and several of those types of places. And I think we most of us know that. Okay, well, I've rambled on enough. I think you get the idea. Sorry that it's very early and the lighting's probably not very good. Hopefully the sound's okay, but I'm going to get this up right away because I feel it is important. I'm still not going to do videos on any kind of regular basis. I'm doing some other things, and we're assessing our opportunities and our responsibilities and the actions of others, and you should be doing the same and trying to make preparations. Oh, and I have to add in here, isn't it interesting that the FBI finds criminals everywhere but where they really are? Now they tell us that anyone who doubts the official 9/11 story is a domestic terrorist. Everybody's the FBI just shows how incompetent and how complicit it is every single day. You want to watch these FBI television programs where it always shows them the heroes? Again, it might not be everybody in these organizations, but they're led by bad people. Okay, they just are. You doubt the official story and you're a domestic terrorist. Does it mean that you might be more likely to fight back if the government tries to come after you? Of course, yes, because you realize what's going on. Does it make you want to go and bomb federal buildings? Hell no. You guys are so paranoid. And the reason why you are is because, you've done these things and you realize the criminality of what you've done. Veterans, remember I gave you that MET-T thing a long time ago? Yeah, it's better to be prepared a year early than a day late. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up about the FBI real quick. It shows you that the mindset of the government just never changes, and it's always these people that have the ability to use their weapons to enforce, their criminality. And I wish it was to protect the innocent people, but it really isn't. Well, you know where that goes. Just thought I'd throw that in real quick. Okay, and I have to bring this up too. It's just a natural consequence of things once I get to thinking. I'm really getting tired of the church leaders as well. And it doesn't matter. There are so many churches that are more concerned about their tax exempt status than teaching what's right. Jesus didn't just teach the Beatitudes, guys. He also taught that about freedom and about liberty and about opposing these governments that do these types of things. And I'm not going to go into all the details here. I'm just not going to do that. But it really frustrates me that you use the situation in Romans 13, which Chuck Baldwin has made a very good case that it doesn't mean what most of you go along with. And then the situation with the tax, when they came and asked Jesus for the tax and they got the coin out of the fish's mouth. First of all, that's important, where the money came from. Yeah, what was the image on the coin? Caesar. And what did he say? Give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and God's. You're forgetting to tie that into the whole situation with the temple and the money changers, and the fact that you couldn't use Roman coins to pay your temple tax, for the Corban, the temple treasury. And you just skip over what all that's about. Okay? Well, the fact of the matter is that Jesus did not go along with unholy, unrighteous, illegal, vicious government. Okay? And you guys are not holding the government accountable. He talked to the scribes and the Pharisees and Herod the king and all of these people. He addressed the government. And you've signed away your soul by saying that you won't talk politics, that you won't call the government on the carpet and hold them responsible for what they do. Instead, you line up your people like sheep to the slaughter. Yeah, I'm on a real rant this morning with all this because it just irritates me. And then in the name of God, we kill innocent people. And I know you object to that, at least you say you do. All these Christians that are getting massacred all over the world. And it's coming here. This dictator that we have in our government, he's going to come after anybody who doesn't go along with his agenda, or the people that back him up anyway. I understand he's starting to have some really serious psychological problems. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But at any rate, he promotes all of this mayhem and murder throughout the world. He's the front man maybe, but he's still promoting. He's still the figurehead. Okay? And he's doing this, and you're not saying anything. You're not calling him on the carpet or anything. And you're a disgrace. You're not leaders in God's kingdom. You're nothing but pawns for these illegal tyrants in the government. What's new? So anyway, you're supposed to be renouncing war and proclaiming peace. Renounce war and proclaim peace. Governments have killed more people than any single criminal. They have imprisoned, they have enslaved, they have taken the rights away, they have infringed on the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness more than any single criminal, or even small group of criminals, unless they're funded by the state. Come on. Renounce war. Proclaim peace. So I'll just leave it there. Sorry I'm rambling again. It's early in the morning. Okay, I'll get this up. Thanks. Bye.